Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The saga of Nicola and Peter continues unabated, and of course Peter Murrell has now been released without charge. Although I wouldn't read too much into that. Quite frequently people are arrested, questioned and released without charge, just so the police can then go look for more evidence based on the result of the interview. They can come back at a later date, rearrest and charge the suspect at that point. So Peter Murrell is not yet out of the woods, although we must stress he is the most innocent man in Scotland. But questions need to be asked of the police. For example, the timing and then their behaviour. Now, there's going to be a couple of videos today. The timing one will be a separate video, so do hit the subscribe button so you don't miss that. But this one is more the behaviour of the police. Now, we will have a look. There's two related articles. They're both quite short and they just dovetail into each other, so I thought I'd put them together rather than making two videos out of it. But we'll just have a look at what the police did and plus a little oversight on the case as it stands. So we'll go straight to the first one and we'll have a look at what's going on. So this first article is from The Independent and it's Nicola Sturgeon latest. Peter Murrell released without charge as ex-SNP leader is to fully cooperate, which I think would make a change. Former First Minister of Scotland says she had no prior knowledge of arrest, and I wonder how true that actually is. But that's not for me to say. Former SNP Chief Executive Peter Murrell has been released without charge after he was quizzed in connection to an investigation into the SNP's finances, and of course it's the missing 600,000. Mr Murrell, 58, who is the husband of former Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, was in police custody for almost 12 hours following his arrest on Wednesday. Ms Sturgeon said in a statement that she had no prior knowledge of Police Scotland's actions or intentions when her husband was arrested. I'm surprised they didn't arrest her as well, and that's one of the behaviours that we have to ask. Why is just him arrested, not both of them? Undoubtedly, she would know. She has questions to answer. So if they didn't arrest her then, maybe they should have. Well, maybe they should have. Maybe they should arrest her now and question her. But anyway, she said she will fully cooperate if required. Well, yes, I would think that would be the case with the police. The arrest on Wednesday related to a long-running police investigation into the spending of around £600,000 earmarked for Scottish independence campaigning. Mr Murrell stepped down as SNP Chief Executive last month following a controversy about misleading information being given to journalists over the party's membership numbers. No, let's change these weasel words, misleading information being given, to what it is. Lying to journalists. Lying to the people. He is a liar. It came just weeks after Miss Sturgeon herself stood down from the top job in Scotland. It's almost as though she saw it coming. So so that's that. That's quite a short piece. There's a little bit of further background there, but that's just there, just basically saying that he's been released without charge and that she's going to fully cooperate. She reckons. Anyway, I'm going to just flick over here to the Sun, the Scottish Sun, and it's got the top. I obviously went down. So we have former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon was left shell-shocked after cops sensationally swooped on her home to arrest her husband in a dawn raid. Now, there's a piece of information in this article that I think is very telling. It is believed that the stunned ex-MP Supremo was in the pad when dozens of officers raided it at 7:35 a.m. and lifted Peter Murrell following a probe into the SNP's party finances. And some various pictures of the police at the property searching everything. The 58-year-old was taken into custody and quizzed by police as searches were carried out at the property and at the Nats HQ in Edinburgh. It is thought that the XFM was then seen getting into the waiting black Volvo XC90 at around 8 a.m. as teams swept her house in the dramatic early morning blitz. That is the big question about the behaviour of the police. When police go in to a property on a raid, and this was no different of any kind of raid, this was a raid, the standard operating procedure is that no one other than the police enter that property and that no one inside the property prior to the raid is allowed to leave. They will be searched, they will be vetted, they will be basically, whilst not arrested, they will be detained, and they will not be allowed to leave, because they may leave with evidence. They may leave and it turns out that they were pertinent to the investigation. And so the standard police procedure is not to let people leave. And yet within 20 minutes of them arriving, going in and arresting Peter Murrell, she was allowed to make her getaway. Because make no bones about it, that was a getaway. Why? Why did the police allow that to happen? Why were the police so naive as to let her go? Orders from on high? Political pressure? Who knows? Mr. Murrell was released later in the evening without charge, pending further investigation, which is what I said earlier, that it doesn't mean that he's off the hook. It just means that he's off the hook until they want to put him back on it. Police Scotland said a 58-year-old man who was arrested as a suspect earlier today, Wednesday the 5th of April, in connection with the ongoing investigation into the funding and finances of the Scottish National Party, has been released without charge, pending further investigation. The man was questioned after he was arrested at 7:45 a.m. And he was released from custody at 6:57 p.m. So within 15 minutes of him actually physically being arrested, Nicola Sturgeon had done a bunk. She got into the car and she'd gone. We were told earlier how a large police presence swooped on the couple's home in Uddingston, Lanarkshire, earlier this morning. Police were seen searching the couple's home and erected a tent in the front garden. Why would you need a tent? Why would you need a forensic tent if you're just looking for paperwork? It's very telling, isn't it? The house was also cordoned off with police tape as officers stood guard. And cops eventually placed big blue walls up to protect the house amid the ongoing search. Mr. Murrell's car is still parked outside the home, plugged into an electric charger. We also told how police have conducted searches at the SNP's HQ in Edinburgh this morning. And that's just going on there. We're not going to go too much in there. It's just basically things that have been regurgitated on previous reports. But why did the police feel it was correct and appropriate to let the wife of a suspect, even though we know it's a lavender marriage, but why did they think it was appropriate to let the wife of a suspect walk out the house shortly after they have arrested him? Was she searched? Was she allowed to leave with a bag? Did anyone look inside the bag? Did she take anything? These are important questions that the police need to answer. They need to be held accountable for their actions in letting that woman go out of that property. Anyway, I shall round this off, come up and we'll finish the video. I find it odd that no one from the mainstream media is asking these questions. Why is nobody from the press questioning the police as to why they let Nicola Sturgeon go within minutes of arresting her husband? Do they know where she went? Do they know who she was with? Do they know what she took from the property? If she took anything at all, of course. It's all speculation. But it seems highly suspect that that woman was allowed to leave that property so quickly and without police presence. No, it's not as though that she went, to get out of the property and had someone escorting her, a police escort with her, to stop her doing anything, to stop her destroying evidence or anything like that. It's just, it's a stitch up. This was done, I think, to give, how should we say, done for the optics, but to give legitimacy to the investigation, so that later, when charges are quietly, they won't be dropped, there will be no charges made, but the investigation will be quietly dropped. But they can then say, oh no, we did do a full investigation. They probably just arrested him, took him down the station, had a bit of a party with him. Sorry, Pete, you got to do this for the cameras, mate. Here, do you want another pie? Here, chat. It's there. The more I'm looking into this, the more you see the police's actions, the more you realise that this whole thing is increasingly looking like a complete cover-up, and it's all done just for the benefit of the masses, just for the plebs, just for us plebs, so we think that the police are thoroughly investigating this pair, who I am not saying in any way, shape or form, or in any way corrupt, dishonest, or likely to have embezzled £600,000. No, sirree, Bob, that definitely Never happened. Anyway, it does give you food for thought. I shall stop now. So thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button straight away. Ring that bell for future outputs. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Don't believe anything the police tell you because they're all bloody liars. And goodbye.